subject of a lot of discussion over the past few months. There's different ways to build the deck. We had the Sylveon version, the Max Potion version. It's like, should you play Mr. Mime or not? All these different things. And it looks like Forrest has kind of settled somewhere in between, as we do see his prize cards. Now, you see the Eevee. He does play a 1-1 Sylveon GX line. He might not be happy to see that it's in his prize cards.
Yeah, that doesn't work too well for a 1-1 line. We do see that Forrest does play the Psychic version of Ralts, potentially even the Psychic Curlia, and it's just for this matchup alone. Just wants to be able to maybe sneak a little extra damage onto a Buzzwole because he does have that weakness.
Yeah, I would say for that, and also Registeel and a lot of those metal decks. You know, the Fairy type Ralts is weak to metal, and just one energy Registeel knocks out your Ralts. But in any case, he is playing the Psychic version, and we see a strong energy Max Elixir onto the bench, Rockruff, and an N. It's a pretty strong start for Pablo. That Ralts is going to be threatened very quickly.
Yeah, this has been a pretty great start for Pablo here. It probably wants to find a few extra Pokemon. Maybe he gets to set up a secondary attacker. Potentially has that answer right now with the energy on the Rockruff. That means that Dangerous Road could be happening if Forrest plays too many Pokemon down on this opening turn.
Definitely. So both players drawing 6 off of the N. So we got to see Forrest's prize cards earlier and noticed a lot of things in there. There's the Eevee, which will mean he's not going to get Sylveon GX. The Alolan Vulpix is in there as well, which is usually a great target early on to use that beacon attack to get some Pokemon out of your deck and into your hand. And so he will not have access to either of those. So a lot of his early game setup cards are not going to be available to him.
Yeah, and his hand wasn't very good either. He found a lot of evolutions and a Super Rod, but his only supporter for the turn would be Sycamore.
Yeah.
Pablo here, he does have Ultra Ball and he has supporters ready, so maybe going to find himself a Remoraid to potentially find Octillery in the coming turns, and he can just really start to see a lot of cards in his deck very early.
Yeah, he could even go for Regirock if he just wants to guarantee the Jet Punch knockout next turn, but it looks like Remoraid will be the choice for him. Wants to make sure he can get that Octillery up right away and start drawing cards. I don't know if you've heard this, Kyle, but drawing cards is a good thing.
I'll put that in my notes. Thank you. Yeah, this is definitely a very great start for Pablo. Doesn't even have to play down the Brooklet Hill, so Forrest isn't able to search out some extra basics as well. And oh no, you don't want to draw that.
Drew another double colorless energy. This is going to be top 10 ugliest Sycamores of all time.
Well, Pablo's going to generously show everybody how bad it was, and it was pretty bad. Forrest needs to find another Pokemon, and I don't think he was thinking Giratina or Tapu Lele.
Yeah, I think he was hoping for at least another Ralts.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to put down Tapu Lele GX and Wonder Tag.
Well, if the bad news wasn't already there, he's going to look through, and he can grab Bridget, but there's no Eevee, and he drew Sylveon. It's just all awkward right now for Forrest. Can't even find that Alolan Vulpix to retreat to. There's not much there for him in these coming turns.
Yep, this is going to be an uphill battle for sure. He might just grab Bridget, saying, you know, I still need to get 3 basics next turn.
Right.
And I have to assume Ralts will retreat. If you were him, would you put down Giratina and retreat to it, or just send out Tapu Lele?
I think you have to. It's Tapu Lele can be a pretty good attacker in this matchup. You don't want to just let Pablo get a lot of extra damage down on it. With Choice Band and Strong Energy, he could potentially just set up Tapu Lele to be in a 2-hit knockout range.
Or what if you attack with Ralts? How about that?
Well, I hinted at it at the beginning of the game, but then it just eluded me there. Yeah, he could just go aggressive right now. He does have another double colorless energy in hand, so Tapu Lele might be able to clean off this Buzzwole with another Choice Band.
And Ralts is laying the smackdown on that Buzzwole. 100 damage from that tiny Ralts. Man, we've seen Rockruff go wild today. Now we're seeing Ralts. You know, all these big basic Pokemon GX are looking scary, but these 60 HP Pokemon are punched him right in the face.
Yeah, don't let that picture fool you.
Smack for 100.
Well, Pablo does find himself that Brooklet Hill. He does have one Octillery in hand, could potentially get another Remoraid down and have 2 Abyssal hands available to him for the rest of the game. Also, he really does need this Regirock down to get that extra damage, so probably want to settle that right now.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ralts, it does only have 60 HP, so even though it put up a mighty fight with the smack, it will eat a Jet Punch for 60 and will get knocked out this turn.
I mean, he's swole. He can take a hit.
So Ultra Ball for Pablo. Looks like going for another Buzzwole GX. Getting another one down onto the bench. Now the Brooklet Hill can give Forrest access to his Remoraid. He does play Octillery as well. So perhaps that could help him out, but he's certainly going to be behind, falling behind a prize here. No other Ralts in play. Pablo's setting up beautifully. And yeah, Forrest is just going to need to get a perfect setup from here, I think.
That's right. Yeah, Forrest does have a little bit of aggression he can put on here with Tapu Lele. But is that really what you want to be doing? You're a setup deck. You need to get these Ralts into play.
And let's not forget, he also discarded his Octillery with the Professor Sycamore earlier.
Yeah.
And one of his Super Rod. So he could still find the second Super Rod and recover the Octillery, but I mean, that's more stuff he's got to draw into.
Yep. Now, Forrest does have the option to not take this Remoraid just yet and search it out with the Brooklet Hill. Could get another Pokemon if he maybe has that 4th Ralts available to him. Could grab those 3 and the Remoraid, but not sure if he has that. Maybe it was in the prizes.
Yeah, I think one of his Ralts is prized as well. So just rough start from all angles. You know, if he had a second choice band, he could Energy Drive for the knockout, but I don't see one in his hand.
Yep. Even has to look at this Sylveon and say, I can't ever get you out, buddy. I'm sorry.
So Ultra Ball here. He has no other supporter, so we might just see a Tapu Lele GX.
Yeah, and it's his main attacker and his support engine, and he's just got to keep going with it for now.
He's going to play it down, Wonder Tag. Again, using Wonder Tag kind of in advance. He's already played a supporter card for the turn, so he won't be able to play whichever one he takes here, but maybe just wants to get Tapu Lele GX down on the board in case the active one gets knocked out. It's something he can promote and attack with.
Right. Yep.
So we do see Wonder Tag for the N. It's also a Max Potion. Going to heal the 30 damage off of that Tapu Lele GX. And will he go for the Energy Drive? Field Blower, discarding Floatstone and Brooklet Hill. And yeah, looks like Double Colorless Energy is going to go to the active and do a sad 60 damage, not quite enough to take down the mighty Buzzwole.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think this might be one of the last energy drives we see. Forrest is, I believe that's his 3rd double colorless energy, just the way that his hand is played out. So doesn't have very many energy drives left.
Yeah, the only good thing for him is there's no easy knockout for Pablo here. He's only 1 energy on his active, but we do see Lycanroc GX. Perhaps he can get a knockout this way, and he's actually going to bloodthirsty eyes and go after that Ralts, saying, I don't care about Tapu Lele GX. You're not going to beat me by energy driving. But Gardevoir, well, that's a different story.
Yeah. Normally, you might see Pablo go ahead and take that Remoraid, but he knows that the Octillery is already in the discard pile. Don't need to limit Forrest's draws. He's not getting any out of that Remoraid right now, so might as well just stay aggressive and start keep knocking out these Ralts.
There is the Jet Punch knockout thanks to Strong Energy and Regirock EX. Pablo goes down to 4 prize cards. Forrest could tie up the game this turn with another energy drive, but man, he's going to need Gardevoir GX soon. And he top decks a Professor Sycamore for the turn, debating whether or not he should play that instead of the N, but looks like he's going for N.
Yeah, he gets 1 less card, but he does get to mess with Pablo's hand a little bit. Not terribly impactful, as Pablo already has that Octillery ready to draw him some more cards, and Pablo was kind of at a weird hand with a lot of energies that wasn't getting the best Abyssals.
So Pablo will draw 4 cards, Forrest will get 6. We do see Curlia coming into play, but still no Gardevoir. It's in his hand, but he can't evolve to it quite yet. And we see Energy Drive for the knockout, getting those 2 prize cards. So the game is tied from that regard, but I think the upcoming turn will tell a different story.
Yeah, Pablo bringing up that Regirock. Not going to be attacking with it. Just needs something else up in the active spot for this Guzma.
Brings out Curlia, and Pablo says this is a no Gardevoir zone. We have not seen one on stream yet today, and looks like that will continue.
Even with that second strong energy and the Regirock, that means that he'll be able to use Jet Punch for the knockout, and he can take out this Remoraid as well. Leaves him on an even prize count.
And his opponent just concedes.
It's over.
Yeah, Forrest knows there's no way to come back from this, and just concedes to save time. Can't blame him. I mean, there's no way he was going to win that game.
Yeah.
With all of his prizes, the early Sycamore discarding all of his resources, and never being able to get a Gardevoir. Just did not seem like that one was in the cards for him. And that is an important thing to recognize when you're this deep in tournament play. There are time limits. You only have 50 minutes. And a player in Forrest position needs to get a win, needs to win 2 games to take the match. And giving yourself enough time is a crucial skill in these tournament settings.
Yeah, for Pablo, he plays matches very quickly with his deck. He's able to get his wins in maybe 10, 15 minutes, but sometimes it takes a little longer for Gardevoir to do that. They can play some pretty grindy matches, so Forrest giving himself this extra time here might prove to be beneficial as he's definitely trying to get a win here, not just a tie.
Yeah, and you can see in game 1 why a lot of players shy away from a stage 2 deck like Gardevoir. You saw just the clunky setup he had. Of course, his prize cards didn't help him, but you know, Ralts gets knocked out. You don't have a rare candy to evolve into Gardevoir. You just never got a stage 2 out, and that could just happen sometimes.
Yeah, both prizes for both players. That looks pretty good. Nothing terribly prized. I think that benefits Forrest here a lot. He found that a lot of his 1-1 lines were in the prizes there, and starts off with that Eevee. It's the best start in his deck.
This is a much different game already. Starts with the Bridget. Gonna get himself at least 2 Ralts, maybe 3, depending on what's in his hand. And one thing you gotta wonder, is there a Fairy Energy in his hand?
Yeah, didn't see it.
Oh, that's bad.
That means Eevee's not the best start in his deck. That is a very easy Jet Punch target now, and he might lose access to his Sylveon now.
Ultra Ball is the follow-up here, discarding that Giratina. And looks like Field Blower as well. He's going to go for perhaps a 4th basic Pokemon.
Yeah, I think he's going to be eyeing up Remoraid here. Already has Octillery in hand, but might go a little slower with that Vulpix.
Yeah, looks like he does have Octillery. And a Remoraid seems like it's a good choice here, and he's going to go for it.
Yeah, I think it's a strong play. It knows that Pablo's likely going to be taking the knockout on this Eevee, which means that Remoraid isn't going to be Guzma'd up and knocked out. So you're going to get at least a few draws out of your Octillery here.
So Pablo will begin his turn, and it's like, oh, Eevee, all right. Just play fighting.
That was easy.
This reminds me of the old times with Landorus EX. You know, there were those Flareon decks going around at the time, and it was just like, oh, you got an Eevee? Cool. Now attach, knock out your Eevee.
Could you even attack on the first turn with those two?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it got bad.
Like, oh, all right. Well,
I didn't want him anyways.
Yeah. Brooklet Hill for Pablo, searching for a basic water or fighting type Pokemon. What do you think he's going to get?
Yeah, general strategy here is start to take knockouts on Ralts as fast as you can. And the way to do that would be Rockruff evolving into Lycanroc. And you can just keep using that Guzma effect to manipulate these Ralts. One with 30 damage, and then the second one you try to knock out the 60 and then finish that Ralts that had 30 on it.
Makes sense. All right, we're going to see Wonder Tag for Professor Sycamore. So strong start from Pablo here.
Yeah.
He'll begin the game like he has in many other matches we've seen. A knockout on the first turn. And that just puts so much pressure on your opponent. Not only a knockout on the first turn, but doing 30 damage to one of their benched Pokemon as well. You can see just why Buzzwole GX has been so successful this weekend.
Yep, even has the Max Elixir here to follow up. Could get an energy onto his Rockruff, threatening Dangerous Rogue, and he finds it.
I think it's one of those foil fighting energy. Attaches it to his Rockruff. I've known Pablo for a long time. He loves foil cards. Back in the day, we had those reverse hollow TV reporters.
Oh,
those
yeah.
are extremely difficult to find, and he had 4 of them.
Yep, I only knew one other player who had 4, and it was John Silvestro.
Yeah, those are only for the deepest collectors.
Yep.
All right, so he's going to follow up on this Professor Sycamore with a Float Stone, putting that onto the Remoraid. And looks like a pretty strong turn. Max Elixir, Energy, got your basic Pokemon down. Not much more you can ask for. And a knockout on Eevee.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive start. Got everything that he needs on his bench, multiple energy. And he says, Forrest, you need to have Octillery in your hand right now, or I'm going to remove that only source of draw you have.
And he indeed does have Octillery. So going to be able to Abyssal Hand this turn. I see he has Gallade and N. So he's trying to draw rare candy off of these 3 cards, and he hits it.
Yeah, that is a huge draw for him. I didn't know if he should go for the Abyssal Hand just yet or use the N and maybe find Ultra Ball to thin out, but it worked out very well for him. He's able to get that Gallade into play, and that just means that he's got Premonitions online. He can start to do a lot of great things here.
And if he can find Double Colorless Energy, he can swing with that Sensitive Blade. Put a lot of pressure back on that Buzzwole, and this is why people love Gardevoir. You can just, if you can rare candy on the second turn of the game, get a big stage 2 out. I mean, it's hard for a lot of decks to respond.
Yeah.
You have these big Pokemon doing big damage. I mean, Gallade's kind of the backup attacker, and it's still threatening in this spot.
Yeah, it's a very great attacker if you can get it on the second turn. Looking for Double Colorless Energy here now, and it also means that he has Premonition into Abyssal Hands coming in the future turns as well, so it's going to be pretty great for him. And if that last card is a Gardevoir, he's got quite the hand.
There is the Double Colorless Energy. I think it's a Tapu Lele.
Okay.
So not quite.
That would have been wow.
Not quite the perfect second turn, but this is pretty good. You have Octillery, Gallade, and a Kirlia down, and Double Colorless to attack. Premonition looking at the top 5.
Yeah, he can line up Candy Gardevoir for his following turns. Could even leave the Ultra Ball on top to get some extra cards out of his hand to draw a little bit more on the Abyssal.
Yeah, using Premonition is always kind of funny. A lot of the time, you're just like, put 1 card on top.
Yeah.
The other 4 don't matter.
2 through 5 is just whatever.
But every once in a while, you're like, oh, all right. This actually really matters if I control what I'm drawing for the next 4 turns and I don't have any way to draw extra cards. But Sensitive Blade dealing 130 damage to that Buzzwole. It's threatening a 2-hit knockout. And Pablo doesn't really have any way to get the 1-hit knockout back on this Gallade yet.
Yeah, this is when Pablo's deck starts to look a little worse. It's really great at taking early knockouts on weak Pokemon, but if you're able to accelerate these big Pokemon onto the board, even by the second turn, what do you really do? You're just hitting them for 30 or 50, and they can come back and put you in a 2-hit knockout range, which is something that he just doesn't have access to right now.
Yeah, if Pablo doesn't deal with this Gallade or perhaps Octillery, he's going to be looking at a scary next turn from Forrest. He can Premonition, rearrange his top 5, Abyssal Hand to draw the right cards. I mean, I got to think Gardevoir GX is on the way, and that's not something Buzzwole wants to see.
Oh, it's even better when you draw Candy Gardevoir right there. Even has the Parallel City to follow up, so amazing draw there for Forrest, and only going to be 40 damage onto the Gallade.
And you can see just why Gallade is so great. It's a 1 prize Pokemon, just a regular Pokemon, but it can stand toe-to-toe with a lot of these big GXs, even getting knockouts on some if they have weakness. And right here, you're going to see Gallade trade basically 2 prizes for 1, standing in the face of that Buzzwole GX that was putting on so much pressure. Oh, and the max potion healing 60 damage from that Octillery. This is a stark contrast to the first game. Forrest was getting overrun in game 1, but now he's drawing absolutely everything, and you are seeing the power of this Gardevoir deck in action.
Yeah, this Forrest is on fire. Even gets to use his Gardevoir's ability, Secret Spring, throwing down an extra energy, and he's got so many options available to him now. He can continue to build onto this board. Curlia could evolve as well. It's just everything's going his way. Knockout is lined up on this Buzzwole, and Pablo is going to be down to just 3 Pokemon after what looked like a pretty strong start.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. He got a knockout on the first turn.
Yeah.
Got a max elixir. This is a great start that would be incredible against any number of decks, but against a Gardevoir deck that's rare candying out stage 2s early in the game, not quite as good. Turns out Jet Punch doesn't do a lot against a Gallade.
Nope. Does find himself that second Gardevoir. And that's
the double colorless energy. And he hasn't even used Premonition yet. Or Abyssal Hand.
He's not done. He can get another energy onto the board if he chooses.
He can Secret Spring again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to line it up for himself right there. He's going to have Guzma as a top deck, which is a great way to keep on the pressure.
He's trying to decide if he wants to commit all those energy to one Gardevoir GX. Can be scary sometimes.
Yeah.
And there is Sensitive Blade for the knockout. Forrest takes the lead. And Pablo, I mean, he can't like this position.
Yeah, this is very scary. Most of his attackers now, if he wants to get big knockouts, that means he needs a lot of energies in play. And that's exactly what Gardevoir wants you to do. Just play all these energies. It makes my attack bigger.
And we haven't even gotten to Gardevoir itself. It's been using Secret Spring waiting in the background, but its infinite force attack does 30 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So if Pablo does want to use those big attacks with Buzzwole GX, the Knuckle Impact or the Absorption, he's just fueling Gardevoir's attack, and it gets extremely scary very quickly.
Yeah, and I think Forrest was very excited to see that Octillery dragged up. His top deck is a Guzma. So he says, sure, that just means I'm going to pick off one of your Rockruffs, or I can just get rid of all the draw you have in that Remoraid.
Yeah, so if you play Guzma here, which Pokemon are you going for? Rockruff or the Remoraid?
If he only had one Rockruff, I'd feel more comfortable taking that out. You know that Pablo does have such a small hand, so maybe that top deck Octillery would be able to spark something. So it's a tough call. I probably would go for the Remoraid, but I don't blame him if he chooses to take out a Rockruff.
All right, so if you go for a Rockruff, which Rockruff do you go after?
You would take the one without the Floatstone because you don't want Choice Band to happen.
Yeah, that's what I would assume as well, but Forrest is going to go for the one with the Floatstone on it. And Gallade's going to put in more work. Already gotten 2 prize cards for him. He's going to get a 3rd and use Premonition in the meantime.
Yeah. Just gets to take a quick look at top 5, and double colorless is pretty good. Might as well just leave it on top.
Yeah. The worst part is when you see 5 bad cards. You're just like, oh.
I have to draw these.
It's not getting better.
Yep.
But we do see the Sensitive Blade once again. Forrest in complete control of game number 2. We'll see if he can close it out against Pablo, who is still our #1 player in this tournament.
Yep, this is what I was worried about here. When you don't remove that Remoraid, that means that Pablo's going to see a lot of cards.
Grabs the Octillery with Ultra Ball. So Abyssal Hand. He's got no cards in his hand. It's about to be 5, though.
Yep. Now, I mean, it's still very hard to knock out a Gallade here. Pablo would have to use his Dangerous Rogue or get a
max elixir.
Yeah, it gets weird, and that kind of plays straight into Cardi.
Yeah. Yeah, Buzzwole GX has 3 energy on it. All you need is 3 and a Choice Band from Gardevoir, or 4 energy on the Gardevoir. And we do see bloodthirsty eyes from Lycanroc GX going after this Gardevoir
Oh, he has
GX.
the Choice Band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he can take a knockout here. That's pretty strong.
Nice.
does add up to 200. And a Professor Sycamore, so maybe Pablo not out of this quite yet.
Yeah, this is what that artillery's capable of doing. He would have seen none of these cards had it not been for artillery giving him everything here.
Yeah, he would have had to Ultra Ball for Tapu Lele GX instead.
Yep.
Go for a Wonder Tag, probably Sycamore, and the turn probably would not have looked like this.
Yep, Pablo able to go and get that Regirock even. Just get a little extra damage down for potentially softening up other targets. Looking like the artillery could use 10 extra damage if it gets brought up at one point. So just nice to have there.
Yeah, and so it looks like Pablo will be getting a knockout here with this dangerous Rogue GX if he chooses. Now, Forrest, I mean, if he has the perfect cards, I think he could get a return knockout with like double colorless Secret Spring. I think that gets you there. That's 210 damage with the Choice Band.
Yep.
So that's just an example of how incredibly powerful Gardevoir GX can be. You wipe out one with 3 energy on it. Your opponent only has a Gardevoir with 1 energy, and they can just do 210 damage to you.
You're still in trouble. We do know that Forrest's top deck is a double colorless energy, but he does not have a basic fairy available to him, so he might have to go digging with that N and then using Premonition and Artillery to clean it up. But doesn't seem too unlikely for Forrest to be able to return this knockout after the dangerous Rogue.
Yeah, the one-time GX attack is used. Dangerous Rogue gets the knockout on Gardevoir GX. Forrest has had pretty much everything he's wanted this game. Can he do it once again? I do see a Fairy Energy in hand.
Oh, so that'll make it pretty well. He says, oh, look at that. I put you on top.
Whoa, how lucky.
Well, that's going to work out very well for him. Even can play this Max Potion down if he so chooses. It seems like a pretty strong play here. You're never going to have to Max Potion off your Gardevoir because you're at 3 prizes left. This Guardy has to go the distance anyways.
Yeah, I wonder if this will even prompt a concession from Pablo. I mean, Forrest is going down to 1 prize. Fully powered Gardevoir. Artillery now Max Potioned.
Yeah, I think the only answer he'd have would be another strong, another choice, and a Max Elixir on his Buzzwole for a return knockout.
Yeah, that does get to 230 and 240 with Regirock.
Yeah. But that's a lot to ask for, too.
Sure. And then even then, Forrest could win the game with a Guzma targeting down that Artillery. So Forrest seems to be in complete command of this game. Although his top 5 cards are looking uglier by the second.
Yeah, he put a Vulpix on top. I don't think that does too much right now.
But the infinite force from Gardevoir GX will knock out Lycanroc GX. Forrest goes down to 1 prize card. If Pablo can't knock out this Gardevoir, it's probably lights out for him in game 2.
Yep, do see the Choice Band. Pablo's going to take a look. Does he have it?
Oh, he's got Pseudo Widow.
Yeah.
That Watch and Learn attack can copy Infinite Force. If he gets a Strong Energy, Max Elixir. I still don't think that's
enough. I'm mathing over here. And
I think with the Choice Band and Strong Energy.
Yeah, he'd have to go with the Choice Band on the Pseudo Widow there. But he does have more in his deck if he chooses to switch the game plan around.
So he Ultra Balls for nothing. Trying to thin out his hand for this Abyssal hand from Artillery. Here we see the Max Elixir. Does he find the basic fighting energy?
Yeah, he finds it right there. That's going to help him out. Now we'll see what his game plan is. Looks like he's going to commit to this Buzzwole. Hope that it can take him the rest of the way. Just needs to find that strong energy now.
All right, and we saw he does have them left in his deck. So perhaps with the Professor Sycamore, he can just find one, knock out this Gardevoir, and, you know, Forrest had a pretty darn good start. I mean, Pablo put on a lot of pressure early, but Forrest has not really missed a beat the entire game, and Pablo has still kept up with him. He's still not out of this game, and he does find the strong energy, so we can see the knuckle impact. Pablo will now go down to a single prize, and if Forrest doesn't win the game here, it's over.
Yep, Forrest's going to be looking for that Guzma play. Not sure if he has it available to him.
He's looking through his discard pile to make sure they're not all prized, and here we go, Wonder Tag. Tapu Lele GX, Pablo gives him the thumbs up. You got it, buddy. And Gallade is going to finish off the game. It's only fitting. Gallade put in a lot of work that game.
Yeah, he was on the board the entire time. Got a lot of pretty good premonitions out there, and it just made the deck flow so well for him, and it put on a pretty good amount of pressure, too. Pablo did everything that he could. Found some pretty nice attacks, was able to sneak in a dangerous rogue and a really big knockout with the Buzzwole at the end on the second Gardevoir, but just wasn't enough.
And that was an incredible game, too. But you can see exactly why Gardevoir was considered one of the best decks in the format heading into this event. And really for the past, 4 months.
It got me my 2 League Cup wins. It's a pretty good deck.
It's the current reigning world champion, Diego Casiraga from Argentina.
Yep.
Took down the win at Worlds this year using Gardevoir GX. And was probably one of the most exciting World Championship finals I've ever seen.
It was something.
If you want to watch some great Pokemon TCG action, go on YouTube and find the 2017 Masters Worlds Finals between Diego and Naoto. Something to behold.
Yep, and if I'm not mistaken, Pablo was pretty close to being in that finals as well. He was doing pretty good with Gardevoir at that tournament.
Yeah, Diego was the one who eliminated him from the top 8 at Worlds.
Yep. So almost it was Pablo. So Pablo's probably got a pretty good idea about how this deck works and how to beat it. Already has a regional championship with it. And if he's going to be playing against anything around 14, might as well just be the deck that you're very familiar with.
And I'm sure Pablo has experienced just about every matchup. He plays a ton, and no surprise to see him at the top tables once again. Prize cards for him do include 2 strong energy, which could be pretty relevant as the game goes on. But
oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, when you play 1-1 lines and this happens, we saw game 1.
That Sylveon is just doomed. It's never coming out.
Especially if he starts Eevee. No!
Oh.
That opening fairy energy could be so brutal.
Yeah, especially if he plays it like before he gets to search his deck.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one of my nightmares.
There's a big difference between turn 1 getting to use Sylveon GX's magical ribbon and going for Eevee's quick draw.
Yeah, it's a little risky. Well, we see Pablo starts off with the other Rockruff. He's got the corner out there. I like playing this as like a one-of tech, but it doesn't do too much for you here.
Yeah, we saw just how much this Rockruff could do. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There's the wild kick Rockruff. We saw how much damage the other one did with Michael Pramont in an earlier round.
Yep.
Taking down Hoopa left and right.
Could even threaten knockouts with the other Rockruff. If he had a strong energy, he could just take it out with Eevee.
So we see Professor Sycamore discarding that multi-switch. And Pablo off to another very strong start. Already an energy down on the board. And
Yep,
we see Brooklet Hill.
Big draw there. Has the Octillery already in hand. Had an Ultra Ball, but isn't going to need to throw away all those cards to get Remoraid. Can just put it right down onto his bench.
And you can see just how incredibly consistent this deck is. Its main attacker is a basic Pokemon, easy to get into play. All it needs is an energy to start attacking. It has 4 Ultra Ball and 4 Sycamore and 4 N, just like most other decks. And then the additional 3 Brooklet Hill to get your basic Pokemon out. And Brooklet Hill can get you your attackers, your fighting Pokemon, or your support Pokemon with the Remoraid to get Octillery out. So this whole deck is just a beautiful engine. It very rarely gets a poor start.
Yeah, we see Pablo already 2 energies. You can threaten big knockouts if he wants to.
What a top deck. Bridget.
Yeah, that's a very good draw for him. Doesn't have to commit that bench space to a Tapu Lele. Now just gets to get all these Pokemon into play. Eyes up that Alolan Vulpix. All he needs is an energy to retreat, and he can start using Beacon. And that's how you get these big Stage 2 Pokemon into play so early.
Yeah, well, Brooklet Hill is out there as well, so he could bridge it for 3 other Pokemon, and then Brooklet Hill for the Alolan Vulpix.
Yeah.
He's got many options open, but there's always that threat of the dangerous rogue from Lycanroc, so filling your bench, while sometimes necessary, can backfire.
Yeah. Forrest getting the bad news here, looking through and sees doesn't have a Remoraid and doesn't have a Sylveon.
And a Ralts prized as well.
Yeah.
Looking a lot like game 1.
This
but,
is, yeah, it's the same, almost the same prizes.
Not quite the same start, though.
Yep.
Starting with Bridget is always where you want to be with this deck. Just getting a bunch of Ralts down so that even if one gets knocked out, you can evolve the others.
Yep. Forrest with the simple retreat. Gonna not even shuffle the deck. Knows he's going to be using Beacon at the end of this turn, and probably going to start searching out some Curlia. If he had a rare candy, he could go and get the Guardy right now, but it looks like 2 Curlia is probably going to be the choice. Maybe even a Tapu Lele if he wants a different supporter.
Yeah. Yeah, and he actually needed that double colorless to retreat. Eevee's retreat cost is 2.
Yeah.
So fortunate that he started with that. Also fortunate that he didn't try to put a fairy energy on it and get Sylveon.
Yeah, that's how you quick draw into a Buzzwole.
Looks like Curlia and Tapu Lele GX are the 2 choices for Forrest off of this Beacon. And right now there's no strong energy on the Buzzwole GX. So if Pablo wants to knock out one of these 60 HP Pokemon, he's going to need to find strong energy plus Regirock EX. Otherwise, he's going to have to use a bigger attack.
Yeah, you don't want to knuckle impact a Vulpix. It's not good. Is going to be able to get some extra cards out now. And he's got a pretty great start. It just depends how many cards he can get out of his hand to potentially refill with Octillery again.
Brooklet Hill going for Buzzwole GX. And he also has Max Elixir in hand. It looks like he's going to Bloodthirsty Eyes for one of those Ralts.
Yeah.
And looks like we do see Octillery and a Max Elixir. Does he find Fighting Energy? Looks like no.
It's not this time. Does have an Ultra Ball in his hand and 2 other cards, one being a Floatstone. So has to make a little of an awkward choice. Do you throw away this Floatstone now just so that you can draw 5 and potentially find those strong energies that you need, or do you just draw 3? And yeah, it looks like he's going to draw just a few cards and continue to slowly move along. Not going to be that big knockout that we were expecting.
Yeah, he's just going to go for a Jet Punch. Just going to do 30 and 30 to 2 Ralts. It's interesting to me how Max Elixir has come back strong in the standard format. Earlier on, you know, with the threat of that Trashalanche Garbodor, Max Elixir was at an all-time low, and just in the past couple months, it has come back with a bang. We're seeing it in all sorts of these basic Pokemon-focused decks, the Buzzwole GX, Volcanion, all sorts of things that just were not using Max Elixir. Now that Trashalanche has kind of faded away, they're like, oh, I guess I can just play a bunch of items again. That's cool.
Yeah. Forrest here trying to figure out how to go about this turn. He can use Tapu Lele and find a different supporter. Otherwise, he's probably going to have to Guzma around and use his Vulpix, or just throw away all these cards with Sycamore.
Yeah, I think you might just have to... Well, it looks like he's going to Wonder Tag. There's some spots like these where you just get a Sycamore and suck it up.
Yeah. You got Super Rods. You can find the stuff again.
Looks like he is going for N, though.
Yeah.
That's going to put another Pokemon on his bench for that Lycanroc GX. So he'll draw 1 fewer card as he would compared to the Sycamore. But just too many resources he did not want to throw away. So Forrest's going to go for an N, and this could be a big one. I mean, if he could find Gardevoir or Gallade plus a rare candy, he could start fighting back. But if he doesn't, Ralts is in trouble.
Yeah, if he doesn't find any evolutions, we could see a double knockout on a Curlia and a Ralts real quick with just a strong energy and a Guzma.
Yeah, that would not be good.
You don't like that, especially when you already prized a Ralts.
So big 6 cards here from Forrest. Does he find rare candy plus a stage 2? or at the very least, a max potion to heal off one of his Pokemon. Ooh.
Yeah, got an Ultra Ball. That's a little bit of it. Not enough, though.
I mean, this is an ugly hand.
Yeah.
Not only does he not find like rare candy plus something or max potion, he doesn't even have a supporter for next turn.
And look at this, Forrest even going to just use the parallel against himself and get rid of some Pokemon that aren't doing anything for him.
He doesn't even have an energy to retreat to Beacon.
Yeah, this is not good here. This does set up pretty well for that strong energy Guzma if Pablo's able to find it. Not seeing it just yet, but he does have cards like Ultra Ball. He can thin down if he wants to.
He's going to Ultra Ball, discarding looks like Regirock and Tapu Lele GX.
Yeah.
Probably just, he might just honestly take nothing.
Yeah, I think he can get himself down to just one card in hand after the Guzma and then draw up and try to find it.
That might not be a bad plan. You can take down Curlia and the Ralts. That's, I don't know what Forrest does from there.
Right, and if he misses, it's not too bad to just Knuckle Impact into the Curlia. It's the biggest threat currently on the board. But of course, would really love to find that strong energy.
Looks like he is not going to bother, though. Just accepting that he's going to continue to Jet Punch, do 30 and 30 to a benched Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a little surprising to me. If he might have just looked through the deck and seen that 2 strong energies are in the prize cards, I believe. So
yeah,
that might just be affecting him, saying it's very unlikely for me to draw these strong energies, so I might as well just keep playing the slower game and get all these attackers ready to go.
And he also could have done a double Regirock. He did throw one away. He drew the other one here. If he had gotten 2 Regirock EX down, he would have done 50.
Yeah.
Knocking out the Curlia, but just going to settle for the 1 prize on that Ralts on the bench. And oh no, Forrest, his hand just does not get any better here.
Yep, it's very awkward. Does not have any way to draw. He, of course, he doesn't have access to that Remoraid for the Octillery, so looks like he's just going to have to toss it and probably has to find another Tapu Lele.
Definitely does. Search for Tapu Lele GX Wonder Tag.
Jumps out of the deck.
I think you just take Professor Sycamore here.
Yeah, I don't think any of these cards are too impactful. You can play the Choice Band and hope to draw into that Candy Gardevoir and get some pressure onto this board.
Yeah, you got a Super Rod you can play. There's plenty of Pokemon in your discard pile. Looks like Professor Sycamore will be the choice. And again, another big draw for Forrest here. If he can find Rare Candy and Gardevoir, along with an energy, perhaps he can start to put up a fight here. But with each passing turn, it's more damage on his Pokemon. It's more energy on Pablo's side to power up his big attacks. And it's more prize cards it's going to take.
Yeah. Forrest now getting those cards into his deck and getting ready to draw. It's probably going to be one of the biggest draws of the match here. If he can get it out this turn, I feel like one more turn and he's just going to run out of time. He doesn't have any bench. We've already seen so many Ralts fall into the discard pile. It's now or never.
This is it. These 7 cards can decide the fate of this game. Can he find the right combination of cards? Double Colorless is a good card, but does he find any Gardevoir? Looks like the last card could be Gardevoir GX. All right.
Yeah, he finds it, but he doesn't have the rare candy. He does have that Curlia on his bench, but it's not going to be terribly impactful just yet. Could decide to use his max potion early if he wants to try to play around some combinations of cards that could knock out his Gardevoir.
Yeah, although right now, with 5 prizes remaining, Pablo could just Absorption GX with his Buzzwole on the bench, and that can knock out a Gardevoir GX clean.
Yep.
So Forrest is going to play the max potion after using Secret Spring on Ralts, attaching Double Colorless to Gardevoir GX, and just settle for a Beacon on this turn. Still no damage being done on his end. And, you know, the clock is ticking.
Yeah, this is a pretty difficult spot to be in when you only have 6 minutes left. He has taken no prize cards. He's pretty much down to just one big threat in that Gardevoir, and if Pablo's able to handle that, I see it's going to be pretty difficult for him to come back here, honestly.
Yeah, and Forrest's prizes just continue to get worse. I mean, he's got a Curlia in there too. He only plays 2 Curlia. He's already used 1, so unless he finds rare candy, he's not going to get any more stage 2s out.
That's right. Now it's over to Pablo's side. If he has a Guzma in his hand, I believe, so he can choose to target down either this Gardevoir here or start working on the Ralts. If he has the knockout, though, might as well just take that Guardy off the board.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see it. There is the Guzma going after Gardevoir GX. And with that Regirock on the bench, that is 160 from Knuckle Impact, plus 10 from the Regi Power, plus 30 for the Choice Band. And that is enough to finish off this Gardevoir GX. And Forrest is back at square one.
Yeah, this has been pretty difficult for Forrest. Just hasn't been able to get his threats out with rare candies, which is pretty much the only way that you're going to fight all of this that Pablo was throwing at him.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to use his GX attack, so he can save Dangerous Rogue for later if he wants. But he's actually just going to go for the absorption and take this knockout on the Gardevoir, going down to 3 prizes. It is possible for Forrest to get a return knockout, but very unlikely.
Yeah, it's very hard to do here.
He even throws up Vulpix.
Yeah, now it's very hard. You'd have to have a Floatstone in the mix as well. Yeah, I'm not seeing too much here. His options are use Guzma, try to stall a little bit against the Octillery, or he can just use his N, and maybe Pablo just doesn't draw anything off of his Octillery, so gonna be pretty hard.
None of these seem like very good options to me, Kyle.
Nope. Forever the optimist, but no.
Just gonna play the Guzma, going after Octillery. And throwing a Ralts out there, passing the turn. And if Pablo has Floatstone or Guzma of his own, he can just move that Octillery out of there. And oh, yep, there is the Floatstone.
Yeah, Forrest even just gives the thumbs up, says, yeah, if you had it, you had it. And he most certainly does have it. He can even bring up this Buzzwole with the strong energy. Regirock is going to get it to 60, so he can take a knockout. And all he's eyeing up is that Tapu Lele for the last 2 prize cards.
And if you're Forrest, what can you even do here? Even Rare Candy, Gardevoir, Double Colorless, Fairy, Choice Band is 180.
Yeah.
Doesn't even knock out this Buzzwole.
Yep. Pablo played around every bit right there.
Unless there's some psychic type Gardevoir I don't know about. I mean, there's been plenty of those in the past. But,
I'll check my binder and get back to you.
Sycamore? Yeah, Professor Sycamore.
He's got to try. Maybe something's in there.
Can we see a Gardevoir? Oh, nope. I can confidently tell you, nope.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it in there. And if Pablo has a Guzma available to him, he's just going to be able to seal this game right now.
Yeah, I don't even think that's making a difference.
Field blower.
He could probably jet punch the rest of the way and just win.
Yeah. Maybe set up a hug.
Maybe power up that Bedrock press on Regirock.
You know, go out in style.
Yeah, why not? Get your 12th win with the Flash. All right, we might see a Beacon from Forrest, trying his heart out. It's going to be rough for him. And Pablo just shows him the Guzma. That is it. Pablo Meza will win his 12th round, absolutely securing his spot in the top 8 at the largest regional championship ever. And Forrest shows him his prizes, and Pablo's like, oh.
I wouldn't want to be you, my friend.
Oh, no. And got to feel bad for Forrest.